Thank you, President Beong-Soo Kim, for accepting our interview invitation. We are at USC's Korean Studies Institute. You have an impressive list of credentials, and you bring wealth of experience to your role as an interim president. And I wonder if you're Korean American or Asian American heritage, what does it mix to this? And could you tell us about your family history and how you're connected to US?
Sure. Well, my Korean heritage is obviously an incredibly important part of my identity. Even though I was born in the Los Angeles area, both of my parents are immigrants from Korea. They actually came to the States in the early 1960s. And then there's an actual interesting USC connection because both of them were graduate students at USC in the late 1960s. And my mother received a degree in 1970. So this was before I was born. But after I was born, it's interesting. My Korean heritage always played an important part of my childhood because I would actually go to Korea most summers. My father was working in Korea throughout most of my childhood. And so my mother and my brother and I would go to Korea to visit him. As you may know, I also developed some connections to USC, not just from watching USC football, but I studied with a USC professor when I was studying the cello when I was growing up. But I would say that looking at it now, I'd say that it's given me a really deep appreciation, not just for being a Korean American or Asian American, but also being the children of immigrants. USC is a university that has always prided itself on its international student population. It's such an important part of its identity as a global institution in a global city. And I think I bring to this role just a great respect for and appreciation for what our international students add to our community.
Great. Thank you for that answer on behalf of our international students. And you are the first Korean American president of USC and among the few Asian American presidents of R1 institutions in the United States. And so it will be important for our Koreans and Korean American and broader Asian American community to see you do well in this position. You are stepping into this role as interim president in particularly changing times. What do you hope people will learn and remember from your tenure?
This is a really challenging moment for higher education, including USC. And what I would love for people to remember about my tenure is that by coming together as a USC community and as a Trojan family, we were able to frame and turn these challenges into opportunities, and opportunities that are going to help advance USC and prepare it for a future that seems to be changing faster and faster every single week and day, where we need to rethink how we operate. Are we doing things as efficiently as we could be? Are there opportunities to streamline? How do we future-proof our operating model so that we can get through not just the current challenges with changes in federal funding, but also further disruptions that are going to come from AI and from other places that we can't even imagine? There are opportunities also to listen to some of the criticisms of universities that they don't have viewpoint diversity or that they're elitist. Try to lean into those criticisms and rethink, how do we better communicate our value as a university, but also our values as a university, as a place that really is trying to advance the search for truth, that really is trying to welcome people of all sorts of different viewpoints and perspectives and backgrounds and religious beliefs. There's a real opportunity, even in these very challenging times, to step back, focus on what our mission is, and figure out how do we amplify that mission? How do we amplify our impact? That's what I would love for people to remember me for, as having helped facilitate that kind of community collective effort.
Great. That naturally leads to my next question about USC. So you've been senior vice president and you are interim president now. From your perspective, what makes USC special? And as in your new role, how do you plan to capitalize on it?
I think there are a couple things. So first, just looking at our size and the diversity of our academic programs, including athletics, there are very few universities, maybe no other universities, that combine the strengths that we have across so many different disciplines, from cinematic arts to gerontology, to medicine and engineering and dance and music and theater. And I'm leaving out a lot of our schools because we have 23 of them. And that creates such incredible opportunity to engage in interdisciplinary research, interdisciplinary learning. It's when these different fields, these different areas collide with each other that you create so much spark and creativity. And so I think one of the things that I think is an opportunity for USC is how do we ensure that we're creating those constructive and creative collisions of ideas so that we're leveraging the incredible breadth of expertise that we have to come up with novel ideas, technologies, forms of artistic expression that no one else is coming up with. So I think that's a strength and it's a further opportunity. The other thing I would say that is really special about USC is the Trojan family. We just passed the 500,000 living alumni mark. Difficult as that is to believe. And our alums care so much about their university. They want to be proud of it. They follow our football team. They follow our other athletics teams. They follow what's happening on campus. They're all over the world. And I think that there's so much opportunity to amplify their voices, their impact, to help really communicate the value that USC has provided in the past and will continue to provide into the future.
Thank you for sharing that insight. The last question is about Korean studies. So USC has established over the years an array of institutional resources for Korean studies. Our Korean Heritage Library has large holdings of both print and digital materials that concern Koreans and Korean Americans. And Korean Studies Institute serves as center for our interdisciplinary Korean studies community. Are there any institute initiatives or library resources that you find particularly exciting?
It's an honor to be here in the Anjangbu House. As you know, this house has an amazing history, and it's an honor to be here, which is where the Korean Studies Institute is. The Korean Heritage Library is such an incredible resource. It has so many different resources for scholars, for students, and for the community. There's the Korean American Digital Archive. There's the Korean Science Fiction collection, which I know you know very well as a scholar in this area. It's a real resource, but it's also an incredible obligation to maintain this collection for scholars and for the Korean American and Korean community. There's one event that I was just talking to you about. It's the conference that you hold in or about March of every year, which is called the E-History and Democracy Conference. And of course, it's in commemoration of the populist uprising in Korea. That conference, of course, is about understanding and celebrating the history of the democratic movement in Korea. And one of the priorities that I have as interim president is really to spark a community-wide conversation about how do we come together to celebrate common values such as our democratic freedoms, our civil liberties. How do we discuss issues that we disagree about in a way that's civil and constructive? And the fact that there is this History and Democracy Conference taking place every single year here at KSI is something that I'll definitely want to attend myself, but that I also want to kind of fold up as an example of how we can do first-rate scholarship here at USC, but in a way that also connects so importantly with vitally important issues that we're going through in our democracy in the United States today.
Thank you for the informed and inspiring answer, Interim President Beong-Soo Kim, and thank you for coming to share your perspectives with us today. I wish you all the best with your presidency.
Thank you, Professor Park.